Star Wars Hunters has a massive problem with the game currently, which I think could possibly put the game in some serious trouble if it carries on like this. So that is what I'm going to be discussing in today's video, but before I do get into it, make sure you are subscribed to the channel to stay fully up to date with all things Star Wars Hunters. So this big problem is to do with the matchmaking in ranked play. As some of you might remember, last week I did a stream that lasted for just under 2 hours, and in that we played maybe 12 to 16 games, and at least half of them were against 4-stack Kyber 1 players, all within the top 100, and one of those teams which we came up against at least 5 to 6 times, all 4 members of that team were within the top 10 players in the world. So naturally a huge congratulations to those players, and they played absolutely incredibly. But my team consisted of 2 Kyber 2s and 2 Beskar 1s. Now with me being in Kyber 2 not even halfway through it, coming up against teams like that means I am several thousand positions behind them in the world, and for those of my team in Beskar even more so. So why on earth we were coming up against the top 10 players in the whole world was just absolutely ridiculous. So why on earth we were coming up against players of this caliber at what I would perceive to be a peak time of around 8 to 10 PM BST, I have absolutely no idea. Now it could be because the matchmaking prioritizes 4 stacks to go against 4 stacks, and I totally appreciate why that is. But if a 4-stack consists of a huge mix of players, they should not be going up against a 4-stack of Kyber 1 players within the top 10 in the world. Like, that is just absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. But also the other side to that as well is, of course, that player numbers could be extremely low at that point, in which case that would be an even bigger concern. Now unfortunately there is no way of us knowing what the player numbers for Star Wars Hunters is like, so unfortunately all I can do is ramble on and speculate and rant. But I just really do not think people of Kyber 2 and Beskar 1 should be coming up against full Kyber 1 players. That to me is just absolutely insane, and we are obviously in that situation just never going to win a game. But the fact that we came up against that team and another team of high ranked players over 50% of our games in that stream, we literally made no progress in the ranking whatsoever, because I'd win the odd game where they weren't necessarily a full team, or if they were, my team was slightly better. But then the other 50+% of games, we would have absolutely no chance in hell against them. And once again, I have to say a big fair play and well done to those players, because they are absolutely insane at the game, and I have nothing against them whatsoever. The matchmaking in this game at the moment is just absurd, and I know I'm not the only one who thinks that. All of this season I've been seeing people complaining about the matchmaking. I don't mind ranked play being more difficult to get through, but if it's more difficult to get to Kyber 1 simply because we're being paired up against insane matchups, then that is just not right in my opinion. Obviously if they're the only players that we're able to play against at that particular time, then that just draws on a deeper issue with the game. Maybe things are a bit quieter as this season comes to an end, or maybe people have struggled so much with ranked this season that they've just all given up and decided to play casual. I don't really know, to be honest, but something honestly does have to change, because ranked play is a huge part of this game, and the cosmetic rewards for ranked are a big draw, especially for myself. I would never want to miss out on a ranked reward, but if I'm constantly going to be getting paired up against top 100 players in the world, then I am never going to get to that point, which I find ridiculously unfair, and it could ultimately end up in me just getting too frustrated with the game to even play ranked anymore, which would then cause deeper problems in ranked play because less and less people are playing it. But it could even get to the point where I'm so fed up with the game in that sense that I may even just stop playing full stop, which obviously I really do not want to be doing, but things really do have to change. Hopefully the developers have seen enough chatter about this throughout the early parts of this season so that enough can happen for Season 3, but if not, then I do fear for the state of the game coming out of Season 3, but we will just have to wait and see. I've never really had too many fears with this game, but right now I am definitely a bit concerned. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this in the comments below. Are you finding that ranked play is just far too much right now and that the matchmaking is horrendous, or are you actually pretty satisfied with things? Let me know in the comments below though. That is it from me today. Thank you all very much for watching, and may the force be with you always.